It was January 1983 in the Netherlands. A shortwave radio enthusiast named Arie Boonder was scanning through static, logging odd signals like he did most nights. But then he found something different. On 4625 kilohertz, there was a buzz. Low, mechanical, steady, pulsing once every second. Never changing, never stopping. No music, no voices, just that sound. He noted it down, thinking it might vanish by morning, but the next night it was still there. And almost every night since. This strange broadcast has been going on for over 40 years. It continued through the Cold War, the fall of the Soviet Union, even into modern Russia. And still no one has officially explained it or shut it down. But someone, somewhere, keeps it alive. This is the story of UVB-76, often nicknamed the Russian Doomsday Radio. The station first drew attention in the early 1980s, broadcasting on 4625 kilohertz, a shortwave frequency that can travel across continents. Most stations change their signal depending on the time of day, adjusting for how the atmosphere shifts between sunlight and darkness. But UVB-76 doesn't. The tone has continued, mostly unchanged day and night, whether anyone is listening or not. Radio enthusiasts nicknamed it the buzzer, because that's all it did. A short buzz, roughly once every second, 24/7. No announcements, no identifiers, no explanation. The first known call sign was UZB-76, used from 1997 to 2010. The label UVB-76 was never used by the station itself. It came from a transcription mistake, but it stuck, and everyone kept using it. Over time, other call signs appeared. The most persistent was MD-ZB. A voice would say it twice, clearly, before continuing with a coded message. No one knew what it meant. It always came first, spoken twice before the rest of the message.
Mikhail, Dmitry, Zhenya, Boris. Mikhail, Dmitry, Zhenya, Boris. 85, 343.
To the listeners, it is the closest thing the station has ever had to a voice of its own. In its early years, the station mostly buzzed, but that changed on Christmas Eve, 1997. That night, listeners heard a Russian voice read out a string of numbers and a code word. For many listeners, it felt like the first confirmed voice transmission, and it changed how people saw the station. Until then, people assumed it was a forgotten Cold War artifact, left running by accident after the Soviet Union collapsed. But now, someone had spoken through it. It showed that the station wasn't abandoned. Someone was operating it. Over the 2000s, more voice messages appeared, always in Russian, always short. Strings of numbers, military-style code words. Many followed a structure known as monolith, call signs, numeric ID groups, and coded words. Oddly, many of the messages did not sound like recordings. You could hear room noise, glass tapping, phones ringing, quiet conversations in the background. This led to a new theory. The signal might not be generated digitally, could be a physical speaker placed in front of a live microphone. It was short, but it suggested that real people were behind the signal. Operators sitting in a room, keeping it running. Then on the 5th of June 2010, the buzzing stopped. Just static. For a moment, it went silent. Then the signal returned, but it sounded different, distorted, uneven. Listeners reported strange background sounds, a door opening, shuffling papers, a chair squeaking, furniture being dragged, voices, and some even reported hearing a woman screaming. And in one event, bizarrely, a piece of Swan Lake played out of nowhere. It sounded less like a signal and more like a room someone had forgotten to turn off. Later, in the summer of 2012, a Russian student named Yegor Yevsevyev traced the UVB-76 signal to an abandoned military facility in Povarovo, near Moscow. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. Some visitors even claimed they found the station's old transmission logbook left behind. And it wasn't just the place that felt strange. The people around it did too. One man rode a bicycle silently out of the forest, coming from a path that led nowhere, heading toward an empty field. Then came a woman in her 40s, walking slowly past the base, pushing a baby stroller. But the stroller was empty. Who visits an abandoned military base with an empty baby stroller? By then, the station had already moved. In September 2010, the signal was detected coming from a new location in the village of Karo-Massiv, near St. Petersburg. Some triangulations around that time also pointed briefly toward Pskov Oblast, near the Estonian border, possibly a temporary bounce or another site in transition. Later, before August 2015, it moved again, this time to Naro-Fominsk, a military town near Moscow. Each relocation happened quietly without warning, but the broadcast stayed the same. When UVB-76 became popular online in the 2010s, everything around it changed. The signal was live-streamed 24/7. Communities formed around it on Reddit, Discord, and YouTube. Some fans called themselves buzzerheads, held decoding contests, and made fan games. But with the attention came trolls. Hackers sometimes hijacked the frequency, playing meme songs, spam audio, and strange spectrogram images, pictures hidden inside the signal, distorted faces, cartoon characters, and cryptic symbols. Sometimes UVB-76 fought back. In one documented incident, the operator countered an attempted hijack by layering multiple interfering signals. Loud bursts, upper and lower frequencies, even coded transmissions to block the intrusion. For several minutes, the frequency became chaotic. After nearly half an hour, the pirate backed off, and the buzz returned. Then, on the 4th of May, 2024, something unprecedented happened. An anonymous Russian-speaking pirate broke into the frequency and tried to talk to the station. He asked, "Can I tell you a joke?" 1 buzz for yes, 2 for no.
А можно шутку рассказать? 1 да, 2 нет. Да за что? А музыку включить можно? Почему? А за такие вопросы вам ничего не будет? Да, блин.
The station replied with 2 buzzes. Then he asked, "Can I play a song?" 2 buzzes again. The quick responses suggested that someone somewhere was still monitoring the channel. Speculation about the station's purpose has circulated for decades. One of the most common theories is that UVB-76 is a number station used to send coded messages to spies. These kinds of broadcasts have existed since World War I, usually strings of spoken numbers, encrypted with one-time pads. But UVB-76 doesn't match the usual pattern of number stations, doesn't stick to a schedule. Its messages don't follow the classic 5-digit structure, and its frequency has stayed the same for over 40 years, which is unusual for real number stations. Some believe UVB-76 is a channel marker used by spy agents to test the signal before receiving a real secret message. If the buzz sounds clean, the line is good. That could explain the setup. Even the changing call signs or relocating transmitters might make sense for security reasons. This still doesn't solve the mysteries. The station was first discovered in 1983, but it didn't transmit a voice message until Christmas Eve 1997. That's 14 years of buzzing without voices, spanning the late Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union. If it began during the Soviet era, why wasn't it used more openly when tensions were highest? And since that first message, the format has changed multiple times. Monolith? Commanda? Uzor? As if the whole system is being tested. That's not typical for spy networks, which are designed to be consistent and reliable. Even stranger, many of the transmissions weren't clean. You could hear phones ringing, chairs squeaking, people talking, from asking about generators to responding to trolls. It feels strangely informal for something that might be connected to military communication. If this is really a spy system, it might be the most bizarre one we've ever heard. Then there's the darkest theory. Some believe UVB-76 is linked to Dead Hand, a Cold War system designed to launch nuclear missiles automatically if Soviet or Russian command was wiped out. In that version of the story, the buzzing is a heartbeat. If it stops, the system fires. Most experts consider that unlikely. Shortwave isn't reliable enough for a second strike failsafe, and besides, the buzz has stopped before. In 2010, it went completely silent. Nothing happened. No retaliation, no war. And yet, someone, somewhere, turned it back on. Today, UVB-76 is still buzzing. Through wars, through governments, through decades, what never changes is that the frequency is still alive. Someone is maintaining it, and it almost never stops. In the end, the most haunting part isn't the buzzing. It is what we still don't know.